Hey photographer, my name is Jessica Whitaker, and in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through the CONTAX T2 point-and-shoot camera and sharing my own personal review and experience working with this camera over the course of the past few months. I'll be going over the relevant specs of the camera. I'll be talking about why I like it, why I chose the CONTAX T3 over the CONTAX T2. I'll share some example images using the camera in various lighting situations, as well as using the flash on the camera. The price point, we'll talk about that, and if I would actually recommend it to other photographers. Since purchasing this camera in October 2019, I've seen this actually pretty often on Instagram, and I didn't really realize that it was kind of a popular, almost trendy camera to own. Frank Ocean as well as Kendall Jenner brought this camera with them to the Met Gala in 2019, and that contributed to it being such a popular in-demand point-and-shoot camera. So if you're on this video, chances are you're looking into either purchasing this CONTAX T3, you're interested in film photography, maybe it's something you're wanting to take up in the upcoming new year, or you've been shooting with disposable cameras for a while and you're ready to upgrade into something that you can just load film into. Before we get into all that is the CONTAX T3 point-and-shoot camera, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
A photo speaks 1,000 words, but a polished and professional portfolio can get us those $1,000 clients. Enter Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for websites and domains. Photographers, it's time to be done settling for slow-loading websites with tedious plugins. I trust Squarespace's all-in-one platform to keep me booked and busy. Pick from one of their dozens of contemporary drag-and-drop layouts, host your custom domain and email with them, and even conduct successful email campaigns. Everything you need to run a successful photography business under their umbrella and at your fingertips. You can head to squarespace.com to begin your free trial, and when you are ready to launch your beautiful professional website, you can go to squarespace.com/Jessica Whitaker to get 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain.
I just love the sound that film cameras make. It's so satisfying, and it reminds me of the olden days back on the Oregon Trail. Quick little backstory before we get right into it. I shoot digital and film. I actually teach both digital and film photography here on YouTube, so if you are interested in learning how to shoot film in the easiest way possible, then definitely check out my film photography playlist. I'll link it down below. I cover everything that you need to know about getting started in film, including what kind of film to even buy for this camera, how to turn film cameras on, how to load and unload, how to develop the film, and basically get it from here to Instagram. All that you need to know is in my film photography playlist. So the reason why I purchased the CONTAX T3 was that we stumbled upon a camera shop in Copenhagen back in October 2019. The place was called PhotoCare, and they had a huge selection of CONTAX cameras. They had a lot of Minoltas and Canon cameras, but their CONTAX is what kind of really made me freak out and lose my mind. So I bought a CONTAX T3 there, and I also purchased a CONTAX G2. I have a video on that is in the film photography playlist if you're looking for something that you have a bit more control over versus a little point and shoot. Now, they had a CONTAX T3 camera and a CONTAX T2 camera. The CONTAX T2 is older than the CONTAX T3. The reason I chose the CONTAX T2 over the T3 was primarily because of the size. As you can tell, is very small. I'm a pretty petite person, so maybe my hand isn't the best for scale, but this is about an inch thick. You can seriously pop it into not your back jean pocket, but you could put it into your coat. I can throw this into whatever purse I am using on my travels. I'm gonna go over some of the practical specs that are just the most generally relevant, but if you wanna get way more in detail, I'm gonna have all the specs linked down below. So if you're interested in reading up and learning a bit more about all the technicalities of this camera, then that is going to be the best resource. The camera has a fixed focal length of a 35mm lens, and it's a Carl Zeiss lens, as are most CONTAX cameras. cameras. I did have a slight moment of hesitation at the camera store when I discovered that you can't zoom in and out on this, but because I personally am a big fan of a 35mm, I was perfectly fine with that. If it was something like a 24mm or a 50, that wouldn't have worked for me. It would either be way too wide or way too close, but a 35 is a great middle ground, but I could see how that would be a deal breaker for some people, is the inability to zoom in and out. The camera does have a built-in flash, and it's really, really good. I'm gonna share a example photo. There's red-eye reduction. The flash isn't too harsh. Now, I'm probably standing about 2 feet in front of the camera, and as you can see, we do have a little bit of artificial light. We're not just in the woods in complete darkness, but I think that the flash performs great. I've also used the flash in other photos and other circumstances, and it's great. And on the screen here, there's a button on the far left side where you can control a few different settings for the flash. Autofocus. The camera autofocus is incredible, and this is one of the things that I love the most about this camera. Is it's sharp, it's fast, so that is a huge plus, in my opinion, is the autofocus. I'm going to share with you on the screen some example photos using the CONTAX T2 camera, and I will also list the kind of film that I used for each shot. I'll do different lighting situations. Within the camera, you can also do custom functions. So for instance, if you want the tail end of your film to be left out rather than rolled completely in once you've finished the film, once you've shot through it, you can set that as a custom function. There's quite a bit of options for you, and I haven't done any custom functions, to be honest, but that is a good plus. The camera's auto functions are incredible. It's honestly, I was told by the guys at the store that the auto functions are kind of something that the camera is apparently known for. And after shooting with it in auto, and honestly, only in auto, it is really, really incredible. I've never taken a bad photo on this camera. And when I say bad, I mean the settings are off. It's too dark, it's too light. It's always been incredibly accurate. And the thing is, with a point and shoot camera, you are looking to shoot in auto because you don't want to put a ton of thought into each and every shot. You want to be able to just pull it out of your pocket, snap and put it away and not even have to think about it, right? Having all of the features be set for you and be set perfectly is a huge part, in my opinion, why this camera does cost what it costs. And we'll talk about the price tag a little bit later on in the video. I've only always shot with it on P. Therefore, that brings me to my next point of why I personally love this camera, is because it is very user-friendly. It's very intuitive. You don't have to do the custom functions. You don't have to go into the mode. You don't have to do anything other than turn it on and snap if you don't want to. You can just pop a battery in, turn it to P, and take some really fun photos. You have a lot of experimentation that you can do with, depending on what kind of film that you purchase. If it's color and black and white alone, create so much variety, whether you use the flash or not. But regardless, it's hard to take a bad photo with this camera. The ISO will already be set for you because of the auto features on the camera, so you don't even have to worry about that. You can literally load whatever film you would like in here. Now, obviously, you can't shoot with ISO 200 film in a dark room or during golden hour. That might not work. That's not the camera's fault. That's more user error, if you will, or like picking out the wrong film to use. But as long as you have the correct ISO and you're loading that in properly, it's nearly impossible to take a bad photo with this camera. Loading and unloading the film is also very intuitive and user-friendly. All that you do is tug this button down on the side and it will open up the back of the camera. You pop the film in, pull it into the barrel, close it, and it will roll automatically. It will also automatically wind up all of your film once you're done shooting, and you turn that button, you pop it down, open up the back of the camera, and you can take the film out. You don't have to manually do anything, which is also part of the convenience of this camera and the auto features. With the CONTAX T2, depending on the model that you end up purchasing or like the year, you're gonna wanna make sure that you get one of them that has 2 brackets on the film barrel. The 2 brackets will just hold the film in place more, because some of the cameras, some of the T3s only have 1 bracket and others have 2. I intentionally was able to purchase one that had 2 brackets over a camera that had only 1. Maybe bracket isn't the right word. They're little knobs on the barrel. So for whatever reason, in case or with wear and tear, when the brackets comes off, at least you have another one versus having a CONTAX T2 that only has 1 bracket on the barrel. It's a way that the film is able to feed into the camera. I know that's kind of a weird little detail to include, but it is something that factored into my own decision to purchase this exact camera versus the other ones that they had at the store. Or with the camera, I actually do keep it in a little pouch that it came with, and this to me is the best way to kind of protect it. Now, when I am though out and about and I'm going to just be putting this into my purse, the case kind of defeats the purpose of it being so slim and streamlined and small. I can't pop this into my purse, but in my purse I don't have like needles rolling around and like a hammer that's going to smash into this. Does that make sense? It's safe in my purse the same way it's safe in this little pouch. Let's talk about the price point for this camera. It's overpriced. It's expensive. It can range anywhere from $600 to $850 USD. However, in Copenhagen, I was able to get it for quite a bit cheaper than I would in the United States. And it's also a camera that is really, really hard to find, whether it's in person or online. So when I saw that I was able to purchase this for a bit cheaper and that they even had a selection of these cameras, I did jump on it. I would not recommend this camera to anyone who's just looking for a point and shoot to use. Let's say, and this is something I talked about earlier, you're on this video because you want to kind of graduate from disposable cameras. This camera would not be for you. I think that instead you could get like a 35mm Olympus or a Fuji for like 15 USD. I bought this at the same place in Copenhagen as I bought the CONTAX. They had a ton of these, rows and rows and rows, ranging from 10 USD to 30 USD. You would be way better off purchasing one of these. Now, is this the same quality as a CONTAX T2? No, absolutely not. The focus on this kind of sucks. It takes a lot longer. Is the flash as good? Is the glass as good? No, not at all, but this does zoom in. This will give you those cute little pics that if you're just looking for a camera to use on vacation, you want to experiment around with film, but maybe you're not a portrait photographer, you don't have any interest in pursuing, fine art photography, you just want something fun. Get this. Do not spend $600 on a point and shoot camera. That is ridiculous. You're so much better off with something like this. I will link some of these down below. They also make really, really fun gifts. This camera is overpriced, but is it worth that price tag? If you want the camera and you have the ability to make a wise financial decision to purchase it without hindering the rest of your life and obligations and responsibilities, then I say go for it. The camera is excellent. It's one of the best, if not like the best point and shoot cameras on the market. It just has a high price tag because film photography is becoming more popular and everything is getting marked up. For me and how often I use this and for how long I have been searching for a great quality point and shoot camera that I can intentionally use. And this isn't me justifying my purchase because I don't have to justify my purchase, but it is me kind of explaining why I chose to invest in this. I knew I was going to use it and I do use it all the time. I love it. On vacation, I go through 5 or 6 rolls of film on this, and this sometimes is all that I bring for days at a time on my trips. So much about this camera I love, and if that's something that you're looking for in specifically a point and shoot camera, then go for it. Again, if you could responsibly do so. But if you're somebody who's wanting to get into film photography for more portraits and for more fine art and for more learning how to work a film camera and kind of getting more familiar and back to the basics with the camera settings, then a point and shoot isn't going to be maybe the best choice for you to purchase right now. Maybe you want to look into something like a CONTAX G3 or a Minolta, even a Minolta X370, where you're going to spend $40 just to learn how to use a film camera itself. You know, I would say that a point and shoot is probably not the best idea for you. But remember that my film photography playlist is linked down below. I go through in that playlist everything that you need to know to get started in film photography like this weekend. I love film. I think it's such an awesome medium. It's so fun to experiment around with, and it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be intimidating. I teach it in the easiest way possible. I break it down into basics because I want to empower you to go out and to shoot and to create. That is my review on the CONTAX T2 camera. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this was educational and helped you make a decision in whether or not you are interested in purchasing this camera or just getting started in film in general. I hope that it inspired you. If you would like a tutorial using the CONTAX T2, that would be really fun, and I could totally do that, but I just wanted to walk you through the camera itself. But let me know if you'd be interested in something like that down below. I believe in you and your business, and that's why I'm here on YouTube teaching photography, both digital and film, every single week. So be sure to hit subscribe if you're interested in getting the notification when a new photography business tutorial for you comes out. If you like the way that I teach, I also share daily tips, tools, and resources over on Instagram. And if you want to take it one step further, I also have my online photography workshop, The Business Behind Photography, how to market and manage your dream ideal clients in your own backyard. This workshop has helped so many photographers all across the globe, and I hope to see you in the classroom. You can head to jessicawhitaker.co/workshop or click the link down below to get started, to see the lesson plan, read reviews and testimonials. I condensed down my 12-year learning curve with photography into 6.5 hours to get you started in building a sustainable photography business anywhere in the world that you're at. Last but not least, be sure to check out my online photography Facebook group, Build and Bloom, full of 60,000 kind, encouraging photographers who are there to help you and answer your questions regarding client situations, to receive constructive criticism and feedback, or even to be able to connect with other photographers in your area. Build and Bloom is such an amazing free tool and resource. My last tool that I'm going to share, all of this is in the description box. I've been creating free content online for photographers for the past 3 years, so I have a lot, and I feel like every few months I'm adding more to this outro. But I recently came out with my own podcast after being on several podcasts. I decided that, you know, I really love this platform, and I wanted a place where I could kind of talk and chat about business in a way where we're just sitting down for coffee and you can listen to it on your way to work or back home, coming back from school or at the gym, and just be encouraged, educated, and empowered, the tagline for the Build and Bloom group. And that is the JOYRIDE podcast. It's a roadmap to a better personal and professional life balance. I have a ton of episodes out, and I will have that linked down below, or you can just search JOYRIDE podcast on your preferred platform. And if you enjoy, make sure to leave an iTunes review. With that being said, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.